Hi, Ann. Hi, Susan.
Nancy. Hi, Susan.
Hi, Ann. How's everybody?
Good. How about you? How was Santa Fe?
It was wonderful, as always.
Good. Good.
How was the candidate forum?
I thought it went well.
Yeah, I thought it was great. Actually, there's some very impressive candidates.
Really?
There are
Oh,
impressive
yeah.
candidates.
Mark Lee is just out of this world. Ralph Broughton was sitting next to me and he kept nudging me, going, he answered the question. He answered the question. He's very good.
What's his background, Ann? I can't remember. I've
He
read it.
he works for CC, but he was on the MAC board for MAC board for 7 years, and he said he owned a business, didn't he, Nancy?
He did say that. I don't know what the business is. I know he works at Colorado College. He used to work in the same office as Jane Turnus in communications or something like that.
Okay, but boy, well-spoken and understands the role of a council member.
And he shows up at council meetings. So
What?
he shows up at council meetings. He's come to the past.
Right. Yeah, no, I thought it was fascinating, really.
Good. Were there a bunch of people there?
Yes. Yeah.
There were more people there than I was anticipating.
Yeah, it was a pretty big crowd.
Well, that's good. I'm sorry we had to miss it. Yeah.
Well, there'll be another one on what? October 19th, I think.
So, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I think that's the day. Yeah.
Yeah, no, fascinating, really.
Well, I'm always encouraged when you see a big group of people willing to serve on council. You know, I think that's a sign of a healthy community.
I do too.
I think it's a sign of that. Well, maybe I'm just hoping, but I think it's a sign that folks are looking for to move on to the next phase. You know, that they're ready to try something new.
Turn the page. Yeah. Yeah. And you did very well, Nancy.
Thanks, Ann.
Yeah,
appreciate
very
that.
Well. Yeah.
Good.
I was definitely trying to answer the questions too.
Yeah. No, you'd clearly thought about them in advance. And yeah, in that one guy, what's his name? Anthony, when he didn't have a clue, and I don't think he would, about how we could make Hiawatha Gardens go faster. And he basically just said, unless I have data, there's nothing I can say. And
which I appreciate. Several of them said that, actually.
Yeah.
And I could have said a lot more had I had more time, obviously, to explain why it's been taking so long. But
right. But
that was for good reasons.
That was one of the questions, huh?
That was her very last question. Yeah. That was, and I mean, that's a very narrow, detailed question.
Yeah.
And you either know something about it or you don't. So
yeah. And I wouldn't expect the new candidates to have any background on it. So
no, not at all.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, that's good, Nancy. That gave you an opportunity to have information other people didn't, right?
Yeah. Well, it took us, what, 30 seconds to answer the question. So it was hard to really address it in any intelligent way.
Yeah, there's so many candidates. I mean, we went till 8 o'clock, so it was long anyway, but there's so many candidates, they can only each have a very short amount of time.
Yeah.
League of Women Voters managed it. And I thought they did a good job managing it, given what they're up against.
Yeah, no, they managed it very tightly, actually.
Good.
But I'll tell you what, it's exhausting to sit there and try to constantly be thinking.
Yeah. Oh, it would be. You bet.
Hi, Dole.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, Dole.
Hi there.
So it's 3:30. We can go ahead and get started. And I see, it looks like Tweed is there.
She's here.
I'm right here.
I just haven't moved
Just a hand.
So let's get going. Any comments on the agenda? Hearing none. Public comment, seeing none. We'll move on. The minutes from September 7th and August 24th. Oh, Erin is on now, great. We had, Susan made some changes to those with Dole's assistance, and I thought that I was more comfortable with them and this way. So does anyone have any further comments on either August or September minutes?
Nope.
Okay, can I have a motion to approve them then?
So moved.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, minutes can be posted. Thank you. Updates, roof, anything new? Did we get that second roofer?
We met with him today, so they're gonna need a couple weeks to put their bid together. And at least we can see where prices sit. And then at that point, we can rendezvous and then decide if that's something that we want to do, or if we, since we're kind of getting closer to some other progress, if we decide we want to just wait and do it with the other the bigger project as well. So,
Okay.
but we did meet with
The
them.
The one thing that occurred to me, one benefit to doing some stuff now is I wouldn't mind using some of those match dollars to show some progress. Other than that, and I always come back to, as long as it doesn't mean we have to redo it when we do the big project. So just want to throw that out for consideration, because I think it would be helpful to show match that we are making some progress. And it would also, John Shada did bring it up again last night. So
Yeah.
that it looked bad.
Yeah.
And
So what was I gonna say? What was I gonna say? I don't come to me, sorry.
okay,
It just
No.
totally left my mind.
senior moment. Is there anything from the contract went in for the floodplain analysis and all that, correct, Joel?
Those have been fully executed and sent to the consultant, and they're working on both of those efforts.
Okay, and we're looking toward when to have all that completed?
Nancy, I think we're probably, I'm glad you're bringing this up. So the site analysis will probably take the longest, but the plaza design, do we need to talk about if we want to take the final plot or the draft, like the preferred plaza design, to council for council's approval?
My sense is we do it all together. We get the entire thing approved.
Mine too.
The whole site with the plaza
thing.
information?
Everything.
Okay, well, let me
We need
re-ask this
some
question
brand.
then. Do we want to take the draft plaza to council for their input?
I don't.
Okay. I feel like whenever we do this, I'm at that table and I get asked like 3 questions that force us to come back and do a bunch of revisions and edits and then to come back for a final approval. I mean, what if we did approach them in a work session? Here's what we're thinking, here's our thoughts, and then with the plan to come back at the next reasonable council session for them to approve the plaza.
Erin, you had a comment?
I have 2 questions, and I apologize if I'm misunderstanding the question, Dole. One is, I think there's an opportunity, since this plaza is going to be a reflection of comments heard from city council and but primarily the public, taking this preferred site plan back to the public with the plaza revision shown, I think makes a lot of sense. And then once we've gotten the feedback from the public, taking that to city council with having had that plaza design as a proposal vetted by the public. My follow-up question to that is just with the floodplain options that we were considering, whether those 2 options go before council, before the full site plan is finalized, or after. I think that's, I guess, my follow-up question with how it feeds into the plaza.
I think if we want to go back out to the community, I think that's always great, but can we not do that at like a work session, that is a public meeting where they're allowed to review type thing?
We promised people at the plaza meeting that we would have an community open house where they could see the entire plan before it goes to council. We promised that, so stop.
Okay, so then we just need, I guess, okay. And when you say entire plan, Susan, you mean everything except for the building rehabilitation, everything
Right.
outside the building walls.
Right. The
Okay.
north
I mean,
building, the plaza,
Susan,
everything.
yes, I think I'm saying the same thing as you.
Oh, okay.
I'm just asking how we want to do this, because I do want approvals on the plaza. Let me back up to your question, Aaron. Again, I don't think that site grading is going to affect the 2-dimensional plaza design a whole lot. I think it's either going to be lower or higher. And I think that the grading swales will either be closer to the building or farther away from the building. So I think from a plaza design perspective, we can proceed. And if it comes back that it makes sense to raise up the building and raise up the site, then they'll just have to adjust the grading accordingly. But I don't think it's going to affect the features that the community wants. Ann?
Right, and I think we've always said the floodplain issue, we want to hear what the analysis of that is and what the cost would be. We will make a decision, and we just want to be in a position where if somebody asks, did you look at raising the building? We can say, yep, we did that, and it is not a preferred approach.
Correct. And I don't think that needs to stop us from developing and finalizing the plaza.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay,
Which
so
brings
then-
me back, Joel, to my earlier question is when can we expect that floodplain analysis and cost analysis from BVH and company?
So the floodplain analysis, Nancy, I'd have to check in with them and ask. I know that we have a meeting set up early next week with the surveyor. Olson, the civil, has a question about some of the survey points. FEMA revised their survey datum in the late 2018, 2019. So there's some confusion which datum is being resolved. But so we'll resolve that. I think that's really much ado about nothing. Go ahead, Ann, if you had a...
Well, yeah, my point is, I thought we clearly decided that we first need to see the dirt modeling and make a decision there, and then they will floodplain model based on that.
That's correct.
decision.
And I was answering the question that I think Nancy was asking what you were asking. I think she just said floodplain, and I think she was thinking the site earthwork analysis.
Okay, we got to be clear. We need to call them different things.
So the agreement that we signed with BVH was for the site earthwork analysis, whether or not to raise the building. We have not transitioned into floodplain mitigation, floodplain impacts, any of that.
Right.
And we called it phase 2D or 2E, and it was the site earthwork analysis is what we called it.
Okay.
And then the other agreement was for the plaza design based on community feedback.
So thanks, Ann. That's a great differentiation. Susan, did you have something?
Just so I get it right in the minutes, I want to make sure I understand. Do we have a proposed scope and budget back from BVH on the site earthwork analysis?
It's been fully executed and sent to the consultant. They have started.
They have started on what? Developing the scope?
No,
Oh.
on the actual site analysis.
Okay.
Yes.
All
And
right.
one of those steps is to do a little bit of survey coordination, but they have a fully executed agreement with a notice to proceed of start doing the earthwork analysis.
Okay, and is that also the case for the floodplain analysis?
No.
Okay.
So we have made no progress on floodplain analysis. The other agreement that we executed was for the plaza design.
Okay, great, thank you.
So going back, Dole, if you could stay on them to get these dates, because it's pretty
I
critical
will.
schedule things.
I will. And Nancy, they had a proposed schedule, but that was assuming the agreement got sent to them on that certain date. So I just need to get a revised schedule from them.
Okay,
But I did talk to Todd this week, and he said that they were working on it. He said as soon as those agreements came in, he's like, we're ready to go.
okay. So just for our discussion here, if we could kind of lay out what, not necessarily the dates at this point, but the order of what we're going to do. So one is we need the earthwork analysis. I'm doing like a Gantt chart here. Before we can do much of anything else, we need that. And then we need to get the plaza design kind of finalized for our purposes, correct? Then we need to take the entire design to include the plaza design back to the community. And then we get there, and that's more just, here's what we've done. We're not expecting to, we're hoping not to change a lot, it's just to present it to them, correct? And if there's anything major that we forgot.
Correct. I mean, I go into that expecting some who knows what questions, but it would be nice if it said, if we got the thumb, and I think we probably ask for a motion, an action to approve that
Well, this is
layout.
community now, we're just at the community.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you said council. I'm sorry.
So
Yes.
first we need the earthwork analysis, then we need the plaza design, then we take the entire thing for community engagement, then we go to council for, do we have to go to HPC first, or is council the next step to get final approval on the design?
We need to go to HPC.
Okay, so
before-
then we go to HPC.
Yep.
And then we go to council for
Hey,
design.
Ann,
Are there any major
I'm sorry.
steps there that? Yeah.
Nancy, I don't mean to interrupt you. I'm sorry. And if we're not touching the building, does the site work need to go through HPC?
I think they need to see the entire layout with the north building,
Okay.
the way it's going to end up being designed. I mean,
Okay,
my
that makes sense.
sense is it could get bigger based on what we asked them 2 weeks ago, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So
And
it
that
needs to go back.
additional storage analysis is included in their plaza scope.
Okay.
So Nancy, that included the additional storage inside and the little minor improvements to the catering kitchen.
Okay, great. I was just at an event over the weekend, a big event, and it was nice to see their kitchen because it was a large kitchen, but it was equipped just as a home kitchen with, a regular home stove and that sort of thing. So it's a different state, so I don't know what the requirements were, but it worked very well for them, and I've seen it in other areas as well. So hopefully we can do that. So I think, and then once we get the council approval for, and Dole, again, as always, we never know what council's going to do. So I think we just have to, I think if we have the community thumbs up and HPC thumbs up, that we take that to council and encourage them to approve it. And if not, we'll deal. But
Okay.
so that kind of
And I guess, Nancy, but council will have a chance at the same time, the community will have a chance to review it in that same time. So it isn't like it's exclusive. So hopefully they do come and then we're addressing all of that at once. So then when we do go,
council's been very engaged in the community engagement opportunities. So
that's right.
So
So then when we do go to council, it won't be the first time they will have seen some of this stuff.
Susan.
I think Aaron raises a good point. When are we going to take the 2 flood analysis, or are we taking the flood analysis and recommendations to council? When will that happen? Or will it happen? I'm assuming.
Yeah, and again, I'll just reiterate, I thought what we had said is once we make a decision on the earthwork thing and the cost, the floodplain analysis is just to check boxes, right?
To what, Ann?
Check boxes to say that we've done that. But it's not going to change the decision we will have made at that point to, I am guessing, not raise the buildings and simply go with the variance we have from the floodplain administrator.
Right.
I thought differently at the last meeting that we talked about the floodplain, that we had voted to take it to city council, given that it represents a liability concern, and therefore it felt like it needed to be the decision of a city administrator and city council because of how it would impact the insurance of that building, which was outside of a sort of even a staff level decision.
And I recall at the July 11th meeting, Aaron saying, we're looking at this and we will bring more information back to you about the floodplain analysis. So.
And
Yeah.
that was the sense as well, that we just inform city council and hopefully lead them to the conclusion that what we want. And if not, we deal with it. But to me, that's kind of at this point, a separate track. As soon as we get that earthwork analysis, then we can discuss it in our task force and take that to council on a separate path.
I think
And
that's risky, but I mean, I think we have always said that it was a historic structure. It got back in the historic district. One of the big advantages of that is it gets a variance from floodplain regulations. And but for this sort of detour we took a few months ago, we have never suggested to council that we would raise the building or that
And we
there
can
was
do that.
any need to raise the building.
We can just take it as an information item and as opposed to a decision item, just to keep them informed, because I think at the July 11th meeting, we did, indicate that we were gonna bring it back to them.
Okay, so again, I think that we have two different nuances here. There's a floodplain analysis that will be required because the corner of that site is in the 100-year floodplain. And that is so that we, that's what you have to get to work in the floodplain through Pikes Peak Regional Building through the floodplain administrator, okay? So no one's questioning that. On the other side, I think what Aaron is asking is, are we gonna take the site analysis results of whether or not to raise the building to council? And
I
again,
think-
that's not really a floodplain discussion. That
No.
is a site analysis discussion.
I'm sorry,
It's all right. We just have a lot to talk about.
I think we did say that we would do that.
It is.
when
Right,
we-
because I don't want that, like Aaron pointed out. And so I think we were talking about two separate things.
Right,
I don't think the task force should necessarily make that decision without some sort of concurrence from a proper authority, whether it is council or it would be the city administrator or something like that. And then again, we're not questioning the fact that we will need to do floodplain analysis because we're in the 100-year floodplain with the building. Okay, so just remember those are kind of two separate things.
yeah. But I'm just saying that they're on two separate tracks. There's the first track of getting to the council meeting to approve the final design. And then there's the track which includes a separate and distinct city council meeting on just this issue. But I think that we can probably craft it with Denise's input, whether it just be an information briefing and then council can, just give guidance to go ahead forth or not. Susan, what?
I don't think council knows that we've gotten a variance from regional building, so that's information we need to get. Well,
Didn't we? Oh, okay, that's
They may
fine.
not. Yeah, maybe we just write a memo. Do you guys not do like formal communication to council outside of meetings? We always do something we call Friday mail, where you would, if you had something you wanted council to know, you put it in a memo and you send it to council.
And this would be my thing if we just asked Denise for her advice on how to handle this.
Okay, I think that's proper. Yeah.
Because we very seldom, once in a blue moon, we get something like that, Anne, but nothing formal.
Okay.
most
Okay.
part.
Okay. Yeah,
It's
I think Denise should make the call. Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay, any more?
so who's gonna ask Denise?
I'll talk, or Dole, you want to talk with Denise?
Asking her how she wants us to present this decision.
Yeah, or I could, whichever, or,
And I
Why
can
don't
help
we wait-
facilitate a meeting time, Dole.
Don't you think it'd be helpful if we actually know what decision we're going to recommend?
yeah, I do. I think that that's important. So
Yeah.
we don't have to do it right away.
Right.
We don't have to talk with Denise right away. But I do think it's critical that the task force recommend a position and why we're recommending it.
I do too, but until we see the results of the site plan, the
Yeah.
dirt work analysis, we don't know if the additional cost is $200,000 bucks or $1 million.
Yeah, yeah.
And that makes a
Well-
big difference.
And that's fine. So it's a good point. So we don't need to talk with Denise right away. Once we get that analysis and we come with the task force comes up with a recommendation, then we can go to Denise and ask her how she wants to, how she recommends we proceed. So I just
And
didn't want to lose this discussion
Yep.
in terms of next steps.
And Anne, you're right. It could just be a memo. I
Mhm.
mean, the evidence could be so overwhelming that there's really not much to discuss. And it's like, hey, we did this analysis. Here's what we went through. Here was the results. Here's why we decided. And we're just going to use the exemption that this is attached. We're approved. And then we're
Right.
on our way. Yeah, it's true.
Right. Again, I think Denise needs to decide what she's comfortable doing once we get there.
And based on the delivery schedule from BVH and the subsequent task force meeting, I could work on facilitating, like scheduling something to follow up those meetings so that we already have something on her schedule because her schedule tends to fill up pretty quickly.
Okay, thanks. I will say that with the getting to city council for the, final design, I would really like to get that done before this council goes away. Assuming this council goes away, but whatever. So we don't have a lot of, that's only 3 months. Are we gonna be able to get this done, Joel?
I think we should be pushing aggressively for it. I think that would be a good goal to set. And I think it'd be good. I think we can, Nancy. You know what? I say that, and I think it depends on the acceptance of the preferred layouts, I feel like, of the plaza. If those are well received and we have some tweaks and we can get them refined and ready to go, I think we could.
Okay, it's just we need to start planning the community engagement, you know, a month or 2 out. So it doesn't give us, so we'd want to aim for that community engagement in November, early November.
I
which
think
doesn't
so.
give time.
I think so.
Okay,
And I told you still don't know when we're gonna get plaza designs from BBH.
Let me just text Jennifer real quick and see if she has a revised
would be
schedule.
good.
We'll just
And
figure it out
when
right
we
now.
say approval from city council, we're all talking about a major development plan approval at 50% construction documents, more or less.
no, just talking
No.
about final design.
Just the
Final
design,
physical-
final
Okay.
design.
Okay, I
Final
wanted
design.
to
Yeah,
make sure I understood, because
We'll
after the
still
new
need
year,
that.
we would have to go back to the council, regardless of who's on it, with our 50% CD or 50%.
right. No,
development
that'll
plan.
take a bit longer because we need
Okay,
another.
I just wanted to be clear.
Yeah, and, yeah, no, I just want the final design so that we can, to me, that's a huge milestone. Once we get to
Yes.
that, we can start applying for grants, we can start applying to get the construction documents done, et cetera, et cetera. So, all right, moving on. Budget, Joel, any updates other than the 500K from COG?
No, but that's great.
We
no.
got 500K from the COG.
Oh,
Sorry, that's the big news. Yeah, that's what Anna was referring to last time, I suspect.
Mhm.
Sorry, Joel, I'm stealing your thunder.
no, yeah, no. It's a great. Susan, I thought I sent out the revised spreadsheet, but that has that 250,000 for 2024 and 250,000 for 2025. And in applying that to the project budget, we are getting awfully close to having the mobility and transportation side of the project fully funded.
Great.
And if we get the 250 from the grant you're working on, Joel, I
Yep.
think we will have it funded, except I'm still anticipating a lot more bills to be coming in from BVH, et cetera, but.
Well, yeah, so that brings up, so a couple, well, is that a good transition now, Nancy, to that?
Sure,
or-
go ahead. Talking budget, so,
So we just signed about $42,000 in agreements with BVH, so that I have it quasi reflected in the budget. But I did tell Todd that they need to start thinking and developing their scope for the actual construction drawing effort. You know, it's going to take a while to review it. It'll take them a while to prepare it, and we don't want to wait 2 more months before they even start. So I told them to go ahead and start thinking about it and preparing it so that we can, as a task force, have a chance to review it. And that will have to go through PPRTA's board for approval, which means, and that's once a month. And so if you miss that cycle, you have to wait till the next month. And you basically have to get on their agenda at the end of the month. So like, for example, if we wanted that approved at the November PPRTA board, we would need to have it basically ready to go by the end of October-ish. So we just need to be thinking about that because there's a little bit of an inefficiency for that we need to factor in. It, you know, and if we were to miss, let's say November, then we have to wait till December. So you get once a month approvals.
okay, that's a good thing to factor into our planning.
And
Time.
Joel, have we asked them to go all the way through construction or just through the end of CDs right now in terms of that?
Just CDs.
Okay,
I'm not sure. I mean, I think that as an architectural firm, I think they could offer us design support in construction if there's RFIs or clarifications, but I don't think that we would necessarily have them on any kind of a major contract for construction management.
Okay, and I'm gonna set up a meeting just to share some things that we've learned through the library process recently, and we can talk about that then.
Good, happy to. I've heard almost all of it, I think.
Okay, great.
Okay,
What were we? So Grant. So yeah, Anne, I got your comment about changing the year. Susan, I incorporated your public engagement comments to the grant application. I had to make several edits just so it would fit mostly in the box. But I didn't remove any of the good stuff.
Okay.
Nancy, I haven't yet reviewed your edits.
well, I have some more comments that I'd like to go through today if everyone's
Do
okay
you want me to
with that.
just pull that up?
Sure.
Yeah, we have a few too.
Okay, great. Well, let's just do that. That'd be great.
Mostly what I sent you, Dole, you've already incorporated. So I had done that work on the airplane the other day and then got back and you'd sent out sent it out that it was all written, which I was thrilled, and I thought you did a really good job with it.
Oh, thanks.
So, but nonetheless, I did have some comments.
I need to attach the exhibits and that kind of stuff, but let me just pull that up here.
Need to go outside. Okay.
Okay, let me share my screen. Okay, do you guys see that okay?
Yeah. So if we just kind of go through this bit by bit, Susan, you jump in when your comments come up. Start right there. Whoops, go back, Dole. To the very first page. Okay, where it says, under eligibility, maximum CDOT grant award for project 250K, a minimum of 10% of total project cost. Well, are we doing the total project with the dance hall? Because that would be a lot more money. And you've got the total project cost at 4.88 million on page 5. So I didn't know if we needed to kind of separate out to make it clearer that this is, you know, what we're looking for is the north, because this money will primarily, you had talked at one point, Joel, about doing 2 grants, one for the plaza and one for the north building.
I did not, you know what? I did not ask them if that was a possibility. So that's something that I could still ask and see if that is indeed a possibility.
Okay, because it would lower our, I'm just concerned 10% of 4.888 mil versus 4% of
Okay, Nancy, I think
3.058.
I will ask them that. I feel like that is written weird. I feel like that's supposed to say the minimum match is 10% of the grant.
Of the 250K.
Yeah,
Yes, not
Yeah.
of the total project cost, because if it's a $10 million like that doesn't even make any sense.
no.
It doesn't make sense.
No.
But it
can
worried
get
me when I
I think I just buzzed over that because I assumed it was saying we would have to do $25,000 match.
Mhm.
right.
I'll ask those 2 questions of them.
Great, thank you. That, yeah, it has a significant difference in what we end up paying.
Absolutely. It's kind of it would be kind of a dumb requirement, honestly.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Susan, did you have any other questions on page 1?
Nope, not on page 1.
Okay, go to page 2, Dole.
I'm still writing. Okay.
Take your time.
Okay.
So I was wondering why the project title is City of Manitou Springs versus Hiawatha Gardens.
Because I went through and I made one box and then I copied and pasted them in the other one so I could easier edit, and I didn't edit that one.
Okay,
There we go. Done.
that's all I had on page 2. Susan, did you have anything?
No. Let's see, Tweed, you had a question about Manitou Avenue on number
Being,
4.
yeah, in the CDOT right of way, is Manitou not part of that?
Well, this project doesn't touch, Hiawatha doesn't touch Manitou Avenue.
Okay.
You're right. Okay.
Moving on to page 3.
What, you want where, Tom?
No.
Okay.
Okay, page 3. I had just a minor suggestion, Dole, on section 7, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th sentence from the back where you said the city has demolished several, I would add non-historic adjacent buildings.
Good idea.
Okay.
And on 7, I liked it, but I was wondering if you needed to be more specific on what the objective. It asks for project objective, and you talk about it, but I wonder if you need to say the objective of this project is blah, blah, blah. You talk about the city embarked on a goal to redevelop it. And you talk about a goal to have new bathrooms, et cetera, et cetera. But I didn't know if you just needed to be explicit. The bluff, the bottom line up front, to me, I was always trained to do. So just to focus it a bit more. I like the information you've got in here.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's a good point, Nancy. It also says no more than one paragraph, and
Right.
I definitely pushed that.
Yeah, I'm not looking to add a paragraph. I'm just looking to focus it a bit more, just saying, and I don't know what the rest of the group thinks, but I know when I'm reading a grant, I like to see that they answered the question.
I mean,
very
I think I could delete this sentence.
Or just as of 2019, say the city embarked on a project objective to redevelop the site into a parking and mobility hub.
There you go. That
Just
works.
identify that as the project objective. Embarked on the project objective to redevelop the site. Yeah, I was going to put it down the middle, but that's okay.
Well, well,
I was just going to say, instead of the city embarked on a goal to redevelop the site, just identify the city embarked on the project objective to identify the site, to redevelop the site. But wherever you put it, I think is fine.
And I do tend to be very liberal with red pens, so I may be too.
part of it, Nancy, and I have a certain comfort with the CDOT documents, and
Right.
I have an idea about who's going to be reading this and what they're going to be looking for. And I think that I am going to probably eat these words, but I think this project is right up the goal of this grant, that when this comes across, they will be thrilled to see it. And so I'm not saying that we don't need to make edits, but I'm trying to hit on the things that I think they'll want to see and hear. And that was really my ultimate goal. So they can check their boxes as they're scoring it. Okay.
And I understand that, and I felt that was probably the case. But again, I tend to enjoy wielding a red pen. So, but that's all I had.
It won't hurt my feelings, Nancy.
So, no, it shouldn't.
It's easy to edit. It's hard to create. So I've always,
on number 8, the mobility hub will provide bicycle related amenities. And I would say bicycle and pedestrian. You said that later on in the grant, but I think that the pedestrian aspect is equally important.
Okay, so you said bicycle and pedestrian?
Pedestrian related amenities, yeah. Amenities. And I would also add a water station and wayfinding signage. Yeah. Did you have anything else, Susan, on that page, Susan or Tweed?
No, I thought your summary was good, Dole, section 8, that was good.
I did too, what I wrote.
Thank you.
And 9, I had note page 9. Did you have anything, Susan?
Nope.
Or tweet?
I added all this in, so I think that they'll buzz through this and just go check, 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 check.
Yeah, I thought this was very nice. The only thing is, as an you know, trying to be an objective reader, which is impossible, is the community meeting room versus the dance hall, if that would be confusing to folks.
Well, I mean, part of this is I will turn in the site layout
Oh,
where
that's
those
true.
where those are labeled.
Yeah, okay. So I had nothing on the 5th page.
Just tweet that something,
Whoa.
just a minute.
Oh,
Okay.
go ahead.
Really minor nitpick. Could you please spell out people in section 7? Yeah,
You bet.
thank you.
And then on page 5, the only thing is that total cost of 4.88 mil, what we really need to be, just that goes back to my original question about because this funding will be going toward the construction of the mobility hub bathrooms and plaza. It won't be going toward the construction of the dance hall or the rehabilitating of this dance hall. So I thought that might be just a bit confusing, but you might want to ask them, Joel, that's all.
Yeah, I see your point. Yeah, I guess it doesn't do us any well. Yeah, okay. I see your point. I mean, I don't think it would hurt it to take out any reference to the dance hall. But I also wanted them just to see the whole picture because it might encourage them to fund the project as they see the whole story.
Yeah, I agree. I just don't want them to, I just know in the past, you know, things that are obvious to the person writing the grant is not at all obvious to the grant or to the grant reviewers.
I think
Well, go ahead, Aaron.
a question I have in terms of just the title of the grant being Revitalizing Main Streets. Is there something where we need to kind of call out that Manitou Avenue is our main street? If people are looking at it, they're less familiar with our community and how it helps that main street, or maybe it does not need to be that literal of an interpretation.
That's great, because if we go to page 3 on the vitality and built environment, one of the things that I did want to add was how close it was, you know, it's right adjacent to Manitou Avenue, or, you know, across the stream. And then it's an easy walk of, I don't know how, you know, quarter mile to our main downtown.
Mm-hmm.
To show that it really is integral to.
Yeah. And again, the site map that I intend to add to it will show its proximity with some call outs to downtown and Manitou Avenue.
Oh, okay.
But here is the website, and the goal of this grant, you know, active transportation, healthy lifestyles, downtowns, mixed use centers, and community gathering spaces. I mean, it's
ideal.
It's ideal. Economic development, opportunities for businesses to thrive, to meet, innovative community connection of public spaces, access to the right of way that safely accommodates all modes of travel and provides safe access to opportunity and mobility for residents of all ages, incomes, and abilities. I mean, I literally think we hit all 5 of those.
I agree. So did you have anything else on that page, Susan?
Nope.
So on page 8.
Oh, what page are we on? I thought we were on 5, sorry. I have a very minor thing for page 6.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I skipped right over.
So at let's see, 1, 2, the third sentence from the bottom of the first paragraph, you just need to add hall after dance. The historic dance.
Where was that?
Page 7.
Okay, down.
Keep going. Yep. Next page. Yeah, so where it says is working to rehabilitate the historic dance Hall. It's the,
It's,
at the end of
yeah.
the first paragraph, up 3 sentences.
I'm not seeing it. Let me just scan this. Is it in the vitality and built environment
Yes.
It's
section?
very
Yes,
first para.
It's the first paragraph and then go up 3 sentences from the bottom of that paragraph,
3 lines.
3 lines.
Oh, yeah, 3 lines, yep.
Okay,
The historic dance hall, that's all.
gotcha.
Minor.
Yeah, thanks.
Oh, and then the paragraph beginning, the city is also investing in 2 electric trams, the paragraph.
Okay.
Did you want to say you want to help people shuffle? You want to shuffle people or shuttle people? The trams at the top speed of 25 miles an hour carry people.
Shuttle.
Shuttle, yeah, shuttle.
Thank you. I want to shuffle them. Yeah, that's a good catch. Or I could say transport if shuttle is maybe not the right word.
Sorry.
Okay.
And on that paragraph too, that's where if you go to the paragraph that says, since the site is home to the city's largest parking lot, sits along Creek Walk Trail and hosts 3 routes for Mountain Metro, I would say, and is less than a quarter of a mile from downtown and an easy walk.
Okay,
to
Nancy,
shop.
I'm sorry. Where'd you say that was?
It was on page 7. Yeah, right at the very top paragraph that, oh, sorry. It's under page 7. You're on 8 now. Okay, since the site is home to the city's largest parking lot, right there, sits along the Creek Walk Trail, comma, and is less than whatever from downtown and an easy walk to shops and restaurants.
Ah, yes.
You can just say downtown shops and restaurants.
Good.
And sorry, could we go back to the page before page 6? Because I did have a couple of. Under list all additional project funding sources and amount. Again, the Manitou Arts, Culture and Heritage Fund, you just have Manitou Arts and I would spell out SIP. And again, that question, if I think it's very encouraging to show that we've got those funding sources, but do we need to, it goes back to my question on if we include all of that or not. And I don't know the answer to that.
So yeah, I don't think the funding, like CDOT's going to even know what that is. They just want to know that we have that much money. I mean, we could say the Manitou Arts tax or something. Would that be helpful?
Yeah, sure. That's better than what it is.
And I can't get this box to shrink up.
Okay.
Oh, I see you were trying to get it. Can you do a smaller font? Does that work?
Yeah, I probably could, but it would, yeah, it'll be all right. They don't need to know that it says Chief Executive Officer. So I'll
Okay,
need to send this to, go ahead.
Anything on page 8, Susan?
Well, just a concern, I don't want to overreact here, but the community engagement section describes the process sort of from beginning to end. And Dole, there in the second paragraph, the third line down, you say the mobility hub design has already been through 1 community engagement event where the community identified blah, blah, blah. What if we
Where did I
changed
put
it?
that?
I don't want it to imply that there was only one event. So what if that read instead, the community has identified several
What
preferred.
page is that on?
Okay, page 8,
Okay.
Section 2, second paragraph.
section 2, second paragraph.
Okay.
What if the third line down at the end, what if that sentence were to change to the community has identified several preferred amenities for the hub, such as, and then continue on with your paragraph. Rather than just pull out one community meeting out of the whole process. Does that make sense?
Well, it does. Part of my thought was that I just wanted to show that we've already gone through it once and we've, to take credit for it, just to show that, because that's something that with these grants is a lot of the agencies will apply for this stuff and they're like, well, did you talk to your community yet? And they're like, no. And then what if the community says no, they don't want to fund a grant? And so I think my only point was just to show that we've already gone through this once. I got a typo. So how would you like it? The mobility hub design.
You could say the community has identified several preferred amenities for the hub, and then continue with the rest of your paragraph. Preferred amenities for the hub.
Oops. Oh, here we go.
There you go.
There you go. And I would add for the hub after amenities, and then the rest is good.
Okay.
And I would spell out CWT. I know you've
Well-
identified it.
Okay.
On that page, it's identified, but when you go to the next page, you have to remember it.
All right.
Thanks. And I would capitalize Mountain Metro in the middle of that paragraph. And then under number 4 of that page, I would say the preferred layout, the project, the very first sentence, is that inaccurate? I don't think it is.
Some of the details haven't been resolved, but the city
layout
does,
is-
yes, the city does approve the site as a mobility hub and plaza.
Okay,
And as a sense of the community and a place to gather, its location. I mean, from this big picture perspective, all of that stuff I feel like has been approved.
okay, I'm fine with that. And then your very last, May 2025, don't we have to have it complete in 2024?
So the way I was going to handle that, the money has to be spent within 12 months. And so what you do is you just put that money, whatever, you put that money at the top and you get it spent first.
Okay, makes sense.
And really, I mean, this money could really help us pay for the construction drawing design fees if we were to get it. Because this will be more restricted money when like PPRTA money will be a lot more flexible in the future. So, and it may help us not have to go through as many. In fact, I'm not sure when they said they would announce. This grant is due next Wednesday. And I don't know when. Okay, they have weekly Zoom meetings I could hop on. It doesn't say when they think they're going to open it just yet. So,
Okay. And just so that you know, on the equity and access question, I thought your answer was good, but just so that you know, I did send that particular question to Natalie Johnson because she writes these sorts of grants all the time and is very good at the equity and access.
Okay.
So if she gets back with me, you know, by tomorrow with anything good, I'll let you know.
Yeah, and I think it'd be good if we have the final draft, because like I said, it's due Wednesday, September 27th. So it'd be good if I have this thing wrapped up Tuesday and just hit submit, so we're not waiting in case there's any kind of
No, I
electronic
agree.
errors.
I agree.
Yeah.
So if I'm fine with you hitting send.
Okay.
By tomorrow. If you've got it ready to go.
Well, I was thinking, yeah, yeah, that'd be great. It'd be nice to do it tomorrow.
Or Monday.
I was
might be
thinking maybe Monday, just
Monday, yeah.
I still have to put the exhibits with it.
Any comments on 9 or 10, Susan?
Yeah, I just want to clarify. I want to make sure we're not sending conflicting messages here because in the community engagement write-up, it's the 7th line up from the bottom. You know, we just discussed, Dole made a good case for why he said the project has been approved by city council and the community. I have a statement in the process says, or write-up that says the preferred design will then be reviewed by Manitou Springs residents at a community open house in the next few months before being finalized for presentation to the Manitou Springs City Council for review and approval. So might someone read something on page 9 that says it's approved, and then they read something on page 10 that says it hasn't been approved? Do you think that's a problem, Dole?
So if it didn't say finalized right here, I mean, I think we're telling them that we're working through it. It's an active project, but we're looking to get it finalized. If I needed to say, I mean, yeah, finalized for presentation, or I could say finalized by, no, I say for review, and and final approval, I think I could add, if that helped really seal home that we're like wrapping this up, you know?
Okay.
Would that work?
Yeah, if you're comfortable with it, I am, because you know better than I about these grants, but I just didn't want them to say, wait a minute, on this page says it's approved.
Yeah.
On this page it says it hasn't gone to council for approval. So
No, it's a good point.
whatever you think is best.
Cool. So Dole, I think you did a really nice job on this, and I'm knocking on wood optimistic that we get this, because it would be very, very, very helpful.
I have one other thought. Hey, Dole, what if we reiterated on the innovation part? You already included the electric charging stations and electric trams. What about repeating both of those under the innovation thing? Is that helpful, do you think?
By the way, the trams should be arriving in about a month, maybe 6 weeks.
Oh, good.
Who selected the artwork, Dole?
The
Crane?
yes, they did a call for projects, and Crane did it. Yes,
Cool.
it's she hand painted that stuff like in the computer. It's amazing.
And who won? Was there only one app?
I don't know how. Actually, Nancy, I don't know how many applications there were. Great. I have to look up who it was. I didn't know her, but
Was it Katie Orr?
no.
That's all right. No, I was just curious. Is it cool
Let's see.
artwork?
Is it neat?
It's Caitlin Alexander.
Mm.
She runs CB Illustrations. Do you guys want to see it?
If you've got it, I'd love to see
Yeah.
it.
I do see
Oh,
it.
yeah.
Of course I have it. Hold on, let me finish this first. I can't multitask. We'll host Manitou's. Well, I was gonna say. I think I did that right. Okay, so let's see. Okay, anything else on this? While I go find that drawing real quick.
Nope, you did a good job. Thank you.
Yes.
Hey,
Thank you for
thanks a lot.
doing that, finding it and getting that written up, Joel.
Well, speaking of finding it, I also found. Let me just find my file from her. It's her invoice. Oh my gosh. It was such a big file that we had to get it compressed. Okay, you ready?
Mhm.
Ready?
You bet.
Ooh, cool.
Oh, yeah.
Very cool.
Oh, yeah, very
Oh,
neat.
that's
Very cool.
Like, it. Great.
Yeah,
color.
isn't it cool? I mean, it's all
Mhm.
It's
it's
wonderful.
real impressive what she did.
Yeah. Especially like the skeleton sitting on top of the building. How cool.
So we sent the file, it's getting printed, it'll be wrapped and it'll look a lot like that.
Mm.
Great.
Yeah, very neat.
fun.
Got all
Okay.
the.
Yeah, super cool. It's amazing. I wish I had some creative bones in my body, but I don't. The other thing I wanted to share real quick was there is another grant opportunity for mobility hubs. Let me just find the right link here. That the Charge Ahead Colorado folks shared, and they're the ones that helped us do the EV charging grants. Let me just find it. Camp, here we go. This one's pretty fascinating also, and I figured worth putting an application in. Okay, this is called the Camp grant, and it's from the Energy Office. The other one was from CDOT, but this one's from the Energy Office.
Ah,
And this one's due October 27th. And let's see if I can make it bigger here for you. Let's see, how do I do that? So to develop mobility solutions that meet needs specific to communities and community members with an electric mobility component. So the Community Accelerated Mobility Project will be conducted in 2 phases. This RFA is Camp 1, which is the technical readiness plans. And then they'll do a phase 2, which is much bigger numbers. Just to hit this real quick, it's to basically, let's see here, I know I'm scanning and you guys can't read as fast as because the screen's behind, but there's an opportunity for here's three potential criteria. Local or county governments with demonstrated interest in developing a community mobility plan to benefit community members, tribal governments or CBOs. And then phase 1, which is what they're doing now. So, we could partner with Mountain Metro and stuff. And I can share this. This is on the Energy Office's website. But the first part of this is they're offering a $75,000 grant to help with design and conceptual stuff, which could help us. And then, but they only have $300,000 available right now. And then the max of this phase is $75,000 per project. So if they were to award 4 maximum, that would be only 4 projects. But I don't think it's going to be. I think it's a hard grant to meet. But anyway, I thought I might also submit this one here at the end of October. Yeah, sure. Let me just see if I can just do this. Share it with the email, Nancy, of the I know it's super hard to try to do it while I'm scanning around.
While you're doing that, I will talk just a little bit about the grants possibilities that I sent to you earlier, Joel.
Yeah, I haven't looked at it yet, but go ahead.
It's just links to various grants. So I'll start putting them together and schedule how much, when they're due, how hard they are, how likely we are to meet the criteria and so on,
Okay.
so that we just start having a schedule. But one that, you know, and mostly what I have is for the dance hall, the historic renovation. Because I think if we get this grant, please get this grant, we will be where we need to be for our the north building, although getting more grant money would be wonderful, because then we could return some of that SIP money. So I want to keep looking for those other grants as well.
Yeah. And you know, we also at our disposal, we have the option to cut back elements of the full project layout if we needed to, if we weren't quite fully funded. Let me see if I don't know how this will work, but I'll send both of these out and we'll see if this will work.
Nancy, I also did a little bit of research, just not a long time, but the National Park Service has a historic preservation fund. And it's a shame we don't live in Texas, because they have all kinds of grants for
Dance hall.
for dance halls in Texas.
They love their dance halls in Texas. Yeah.
Not
But
There's a
it
whole
did-
association.
Yeah, it did say we are not listed, or Hiawatha Gardens is not listed on the National Register of Historic Places. Is it, Ann?
No.
Okay. Well, you have to be a certified local government program to get these grants. And I looked it up, and Manitou is a certified local government program.
Yes.
So there might be something more in there that I didn't see. And then
Could you send that to me as well, Susan?
Sure, I'll just send you a brief write-up of what I
Great.
found online. And then there's the Colorado Historical Foundation that it's an independent charitable nonprofit, and it supports and inspires Colorado's people in their preservation of meaningful places, heritage, and history. They have preservation loans that are supposed to be flexible and low rate interest. And they have preservation project support, which includes grant writing. So that's all I found on a quick search.
Thanks.
I'll send you that stuff, Nancy.
Find it,
So-
Joel?
I find what?
Oh, so you emailed it to us.
I
Okay.
emailed the camp grant information out. But speaking of this, and Aaron, if you want to talk about this, but we met with Charisse, who helped the library write their SHPO grant. And did we already talk about this? Or I can't remember, but anyway, we engaged with her if she'd be willing to help us gear up for a SHPO grant in April. Now, you know, that's a pretty complex grant, because we need to have this construction drawings developed to a certain point with specifics. But that could be, I mean, if BBH were to get started on some of that, you know, we could set a goal to try to get a SHPO grant, and that's a maximum of $250,000 each. I think, isn't it, Aaron, is it each grant round, or is it per calendar year?
I think there's each grant round, which is why we're not applying for one for Hiawatha this fall. Because otherwise we'd be competing against ourselves.
But we could, Aaron, we could do one in April of 2024, and we could even, if we needed to, could even do one in the fall of 2024, right?
Correct.
But it
I
has to be
believe
two
we would
different
have to
scopes.
say that they would be paying for two different parts of the
Yeah,
of
okay.
the improvement. So starting with $250,000 worth of historic improvements, and then we'd have to have $250,000 of different historic improvements that qualify for the grant.
So like we talked about doing the structural stuff, the foundation stuff in
Right.
April, and having that application just say that, and then the fall of 2024 application could be more the aesthetic, painting, building,
Internal.
that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and the interior and stuff.
Yeah.
That would also potentially help us scheduling wise in terms of construction. Because there is some things I'm gaining familiarity in terms of when the grant funding is awarded versus when the work can occur or go under contract. So thinking of our grant application process as the order of construction schedule. So starting with anything that's structural and then, moving to the interior stack of money or stack of improvements in the fall. I'll have to do some clarification on that, but that would be an approach potentially.
Did Sharina say she would help us?
Yeah, so Charisse is working on the library grant application for this fall. So she's a professional grant writer. And so this is something we would potentially contract with her on for Hiawatha as well.
And we asked her to go ahead and create a scope of work. And we felt like it would be worth our time to go ahead and have her under contract, even if we only use her a little bit to keep her in the loop. I mean, her comment to us was that she would kind of need to have everything ready by early March. She needs a month to get it ready. And, that might be tight, or maybe we can pull it off, but we do plan on perhaps getting her under contract so that she could help us along the way. There may be questions or clarifications that she can be like, no, word it this way, or this is important to do first, or who knows.
And maybe I'm misremembering, Dole. It sounded like she could start that application with 50% construction documents because it would be refined enough. It wouldn't have to be at 100%.
I think that's
And
great.
I think that's what SHPO told us when we met with them last October. So, all right. And Dole, if you could just really be on BVH to get that plaza stuff to us, all the deliverables to us as quickly as possible.
I heard back from Jennifer, and as soon as we get the survey stuff resolved early next week, she said that Olson says they need 4 weeks to do their site analysis, and then Jennifer said then plus 2 more weeks to finish the plaza. So she's thinking 6 weeks from next week. So like 7 weeks from this week.
For the plaza?
For the plaza? We won't do anything for 7 weeks on the plaza?
Well, that's what she said. I'll call her.
Yeah, because that blows there's no way we can have everything. That's the end of the year, basically.
Yeah, that would be early November.
Yeah, and if we're going to do an open house, I mean, that really puts us up.
Right.
It's like we have to sign off on what they produce, whether we like it or not.
Well, so then let's do this. When would what would be reasonable for them to try to deliver the plaza design to us?
I don't know. I mean, it would be nice to have it in 2 weeks, but I don't know what's reasonable from their end. It just seems like it's been a long time since the meeting, and it would be nice to.
I think that we have the option here to tell them to go ahead and do the plaza design. And if the earthwork analysis, and this is, I think, Ann's big point, if we get to a point where we have the earthwork analysis and it's overwhelmingly convincing that we want to raise the site and raise the building, then we have to know there could be some minor changes to the plaza. But otherwise, we could kind of proceed and say, no, go ahead and start working on the plaza design. We could get it in 2 weeks. And it's the assumption that we're not going to raise the building. I mean, we could decide right now what we all think, and I can give that direction to them, and they can proceed accordingly.
I thought we kind of discussed that with them previously, that was what we had wanted them to do. So
Yeah,
I'll do it right now then.
That's a good approach, I think.
all right, so Dole will do that. I just think we need to, because BVH seems to be on slow roll in this right now, which is making me a little nuts.
Well, yes. I think they, I think they are waiting. I think they did a lot of work for us prior in the first couple phases of this job. That was like put them in the red. And so I think they're much slower. They're not doing anything outside of their existing contracts right now.
Yeah, well, we paid them extra though, didn't we? Didn't you go back and?
Nope.
Oh, I thought you had.
Nope.
Anyway, okay. Well, that's that's all that I had, except for next meeting. One thing that I was looking at our Hiawatha Gardens website today, and I think we need to go in and take another look at that. Susan, maybe you and I could, in the not too distant future, review it, because you and I reviewed it a lot with Emily. And I
Okay.
keep thinking we just haven't done anything with it in quite a while. And it's harder. Well, it used to be all the minutes were on the website, and now you have to go to documents on demand for all the minutes and all the agendas, which makes sense from the public standpoint, I guess, but I really enjoy just being able to go to a website and look at those. So does anyone else have anything else before we conclude for the day? All right, great. Well, we'll see you all in 2 weeks then. And thanks again, Dole, for doing that grant. That's huge,
Yeah,
I think.
I'll send it out Monday-ish just to get it done if I don't hear any major edits or whatever
Okay.
before then.
All right,
So,
cool. All right, everybody, thank you.
Thanks,
See you in 2
everybody.
weeks.
Bye.
have a good evening.
Bye.